We have added more serious charges against Mr. Sanchez. At this point in time, we have filed a felony charge, a level 5 felony of battery involving serious bodily injury, which contains a penalty of 1 to 6 years.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do for a living. I don't care where you live. If you come into our city, commit violence, we will use all the tools at our disposal to hold you accountable.
From the roaring stadiums of the NFL to a polished seat in the broadcast booth, Mark Sanchez was the quarterback who seemed to have it all. A Rose Bowl MVP, the face of a franchise, and a man who led his team to the brink of a Super Bowl twice. But what happens when the stadium lights fade and a celebrated hero finds himself in a dark, forgotten alley, facing a reality far more brutal than a fourth-down blitz? The story of what transpired one fateful night in Indianapolis is more complex, more shocking, and more tragic than anyone could have possibly imagined. How does a man who once held the hopes of New York City on his shoulders end up bleeding on the pavement, his entire legacy hanging by a thread? It all began in a place you'd never expect to find a sports superstar, a grimy loading dock behind a downtown hotel in Indianapolis, just after 12:30 in the morning. The city's wholesale district, a popular nightlife spot, was still alive with energy, but this back alley was a world away from the celebration. Here, a 69-year-old truck driver, a man likely nearing the end of a long career, was simply trying to finish his shift. His truck was momentarily blocking an alleyway, a common enough occurrence in the world of logistics. But on this night, that simple inconvenience would ignite a firestorm. Mark Sanchez, a man known for his on-field poise and Hollywood good looks, allegedly approached the driver, and he was enraged. What should have been a brief, forgettable exchange over a blocked path quickly spiraled into a heated confrontation that would irrevocably alter the course of his life. The argument didn't remain verbal for long. According to the probable cause affidavit filed later, the situation escalated with terrifying speed. Sanchez allegedly didn't just voice his frustration. He followed the elderly driver, his anger reportedly boiling over. In a move that dramatically raised the stakes, Sanchez is said to have climbed directly into the cab of the truck, a shocking violation of personal space that cornered the driver. The confined space of the vehicle, which a moment before was a workplace, instantly became a trap. The driver told police he was prevented from calling for help, his phone just out of reach as the former quarterback allegedly shoved him. In that small, claustrophobic cab, panic set in, and the confrontation turned irrevocably violent. What happened next was a desperate, chaotic act of what the driver would later claim was pure self-defense. Feeling threatened and overpowered, he told investigators he thought to himself, "This guy's trying to kill me." In a frantic attempt to fend off his attacker, he first reached for his pepper spray, hoping to de-escalate the situation without causing serious harm. But when the spray failed to stop the advance, his desperation grew. He then grabbed a knife. In the struggle that followed, Sanchez was stabbed multiple times. It was a shocking, brutal turn of events. This wasn't a gridiron battle against a 300-pound lineman. This was a bloody altercation with an elderly man who believed he was fighting for his very life in the dead of night. The scene that first responders discovered was one of chaos and confusion. Blood stained the pavement of the alley. Medics arrived to find Mark Sanchez, a nationally recognized celebrity, bleeding from multiple stab wounds to his chest. He was rushed to a nearby hospital in critical condition, his life suddenly in jeopardy. The truck driver, also injured with lacerations across his face, remained at the scene, attempting to explain the sequence of events that led to the bloodshed. Both men were left wounded, but the night was far from over. For Sanchez, the nightmare was only just beginning, as the roles of victim and perpetrator were about to become terrifyingly blurred. While lying in a sterile hospital bed, surrounded by the beeping of medical equipment and recovering from life-threatening injuries, the story took another unbelievable and devastating turn. Police officers from the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department walked into his room. They weren't there to take his statement as a victim or to offer support. They were there to place him under arrest. The surreal image of a man being handcuffed to his hospital bed, just hours after being stabbed, sent shockwaves through the sports world and left his family. Friends and fans utterly bewildered, questioning what on earth could have led to this moment. The official charges filed against him painted a grim and deeply troubling picture. Sanchez was booked on 3 separate misdemeanors: battery with bodily injury, suggesting he had initiated a fight that caused physical harm; unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, a charge stemming from his alleged act of climbing into the truck, and public intoxication, the potential catalyst for the entire disastrous incident. Suddenly, he wasn't just a patient fighting for his health. He was a criminal defendant facing a legal battle that threatened to completely dismantle his career and public image. The Golden Boy from USC was now facing a public trial, not on the football field, but in a court of law. According to the truck driver's detailed and chilling account to police, Sanchez was the clear aggressor from the very beginning. The driver claimed that Sanchez smelled strongly of alcohol and was slurring his words, his behavior erratic and aggressive. He alleged that after Sanchez became enraged about the blocked alley, he relentlessly followed him, climbed uninvited into his truck, and physically shoved him, sparking the fight that followed. In the driver's telling, he was an ordinary man just trying to do his job when a famous athlete seemingly out of control cornered him and attacked him, forcing him to defend himself. This narrative, coming from a sympathetic figure, quickly became the dominant version of events. While the truck driver's detailed account has been widely reported and forms the basis of the police case, one crucial voice has remained conspicuously silent. To this day, Mark Sanchez has not publicly given his side of the story. Shielded by his legal team, who have undoubtedly advised him to remain quiet, the public is left with only one narrative. This information vacuum has fueled intense and wild speculation online, with armchair detectives and sports analysts alike attempting to piece together the events of that night. In the court of public opinion, where judgment is swift and merciless, silence is often mistaken for an admission of guilt, leaving Sanchez's reputation to crumble without a fight. The entire violent incident may have been captured by a silent, impartial witness, a security camera. Investigators have reportedly obtained CCTV footage from the buildings surrounding the alley, footage that could be the key to unlocking the definitive truth of that night. This video evidence is now the most critical piece of the puzzle. It has the power to either fully corroborate the truck driver's story of self-defense or reveal a more nuanced, complicated version of events. Until that footage is made public, the case remains a confusing and hotly contested series of he said allegations, with a man's freedom and another's reputation hanging in the balance. The news of Sanchez's arrest sent immediate ripples of disbelief and disappointment throughout the sports community. Breaking news alerts flashed across phone screens nationwide. Sports talk shows, which had spent years analyzing his every throw, were now debating his character and judgment. Fox Sports, his employer, quickly released a carefully worded statement expressing their concern and asking for privacy for his family. But the unspoken question of his future with the network loomed large. On social media, the reaction was a tidal wave of shock, memes, and arguments. The infamous butt fumble was resurrected in countless jokes, while former teammates posted messages of support, struggling to reconcile the charismatic leader they knew with the man now accused of a drunken assault. This shocking incident has forced a reevaluation of Mark Sanchez's entire career narrative. Was this a complete aberration, or were there warning signs that were missed? While he was largely seen as a clean-cut professional, his career was defined by immense pressure and dizzying public scrutiny. He was the Golden Boy from USC, a Rose Bowl MVP who was drafted with immense fanfare by the New York Jets. He immediately led them to 2 consecutive AFC championship games, carrying the weight of a city on his shoulders. But his career was also marked by a dramatic downfall, forever symbolized by the butt fumble, a moment of on-field humiliation that he never truly lived down. This incident in Indianapolis feels like a tragic bookend to a story of unfulfilled promise. Regardless of the final outcome of the legal proceedings, the damage to Mark Sanchez's career could be catastrophic and irreversible. As a lead analyst for Fox Sports, his image of being a composed, articulate, and trustworthy voice of the game is everything. The accusations of an intoxicated assault, even if he is eventually cleared of all charges, may have already tarnished his carefully crafted brand beyond repair. In the world of sports broadcasting, where credibility is currency, a scandal of this nature is often a career-ending event. For a man who had transitioned so successfully from player to analyst, this single night could undo years of hard work and dedication. The legal journey for Mark Sanchez is only just beginning. He is scheduled to appear in court, where he will have to formally answer for the charges against him. The prosecution will undoubtedly lean heavily on the truck driver's testimony, the physical evidence, and the all-important security footage. Meanwhile, Sanchez's defense team will work tirelessly to either discredit the driver's claims or provide a context that explains his client's actions. The stakes could not be higher. While the misdemeanor charges may not result in a long prison sentence, a conviction could lead to probation, fines, mandatory counseling, and a permanent stain on his record. How could a man who reached the absolute pinnacle of professional sports, a man celebrated for his talent, leadership, and charm, end up in a situation so grim, so sordid, so utterly self-destructive? It's the haunting question that looms over this entire tragic affair, whether it was a profound, momentary lapse in judgment fueled by alcohol or a sign of deeper, unaddressed issues. The incident serves as a stark and brutal reminder of the fragility of celebrity and the dark side of fame. Will Mark Sanchez ever be remembered for his Rose Bowl victories and thrilling playoff runs? Or will his legacy forever be defined by the bloodstains on a lonely Indianapolis street?